Hello, everyone, and welcome to Walking Through the Bible. Mankind uses many animals for different things in our lives. We have beasts of burden, which carry things for us, provide us transport, plow our fields, and perform other hard tasks. We have some animals that provide us milk, which we can turn into other products. And then there are the animals that we eat. And of course, we would be remiss if we failed to mention that we have domesticated some animals, like dogs and cats, and made them our pets and companions. There is a lot about the animal world that we know now that Job didn't know when God spoke these words. But even now, we don't know everything, and that fact should humble us in the sight of God. Let's see how God uses his knowledge about the animals to humble Job. So if you have a Bible with you, you can turn to Job chapter 39. We're going to be reading from verses 1 through 12. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry, just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So, Job chapter 39, beginning at verse 1. Do you know the time when the wild mountain goats bear young? Or can you mark when the deer gives birth? Can you number the months that they fulfill? Or do you know the time when they bear young? They bow down, they bring forth their young, they deliver their offspring. Their young ones are healthy. They grow strong with grain. They depart and do not return to them. Who set the wild donkey free? Who loosed the bonds of the onager? Whose home I have made the wilderness, and the barren land his dwelling. He scorns the tumult of the city. He does not heed the shouts of the driver. The range of the mountains is his pasture, and he searches after every green thing. Will the wild ox be willing to serve you? Will he bed by your manger? Can you bind the wild ox in the furrow with ropes? Or will he plow the valleys behind you? Will you trust him because his strength is great? Or will you leave your labor to him? Will you trust him to bring home your grain and gather it to your threshing floor? In this chapter, God is going to move on from the aspects of the universe, like the earthly processes of weather, the source of electricity, the difference between day and night, and the existence of stars, to his providential care of the animal kingdom. In this section, God is going to be talking about the wild animals, before in the next section, which we will cover in the next lesson, moving on to the magnificent birds. He begins by talking about the wild mountain goats. Now, at that time, remember that wild mountain goats were away from the settlements of man. And thus Job, while he would be acquainted with these animals, wouldn't know that much about them. He wouldn't know the natural cycles when these animals gave birth, or even how long their birthing cycle was. He wouldn't know how their offspring was raised, and how, with some of these animals, that their parents leave them quite young to fend for themselves, relying only on the providence of God for their survival. But God knew all of these things. He knew what season these animals gave birth and how the animal's pregnancy was going, so that he even knew the point in time that the animals would give birth. He could protect these animals according to his will, with the knowledge that some of them would provide the food for other animals in what we call the food chain today. He was the one who provides all of these wild animals, like the wild donkey, habitats, even in the barren lands where man does not desire to live. He provides them food and water in these places so that they can survive. This shows us that God cares even for these animals that may not be directly useful to man, but are part of God's creation. Now, today man knows a lot more about these processes than Job did, as you can watch on many of the nature documentaries found on television or the internet. But man still does not know everything, did not provide these animals the instincts that they have, nor does he provide for them like the Lord provides. God is in control of nature. He provides for it and sustains it. Man, for all his hard work, cannot do all of these things, and that should humble us before God. As we come to verse 9, if you're reading from an older translation of the Bible, like the King James Version, you would have the animal there called the unicorn. That translation caused many who scoff at the Bible to mock here, saying that the Bible believer believes in mythical creatures. The thing is, unicorn literally means one horn. Today it represents a mythical horse with one horn in its head, but the word does not have to mean that. It could simply mean a one-horned animal. The New King James Version calls the animal the wild ox, while many believe it refers to a rhinoceros. Whatever this animal was, it was not the mythical animal that we think, but a real animal that in Job's day one would never consider for domesticated use. This animal would not serve man, it would not lay tame in the barn, it could not be contained by ropes or plow your fields or thresh out your grain in spite of its great strength. You see, mankind can tame many animals, but there are some animals that cannot be tamed even today. The implication here, though, is that if God wanted to, he could tame them. He could cause these animals to do exactly that because God is the creator of them. And this is the point of this section. Job was questioning why God allowed him to suffer. He thought he had the right to question God when in fact he had no right because he could not even control nature. So what made him think that he stood on equal footing with God? Job may have been a righteous man, but that was by God's grace, not by Job on his own. Therefore, who is Job to question what God did or what God allows? We'll continue on with chapter 39, the Lord willing, in the next lesson. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Job chapter 39, verses 13 to 30, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time. We thank you for watching Walking Through the Bible today. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below. But if you like this video, we ask that you consider subscribing to our channel so you won't miss out on other videos in our series, as well as share this video among your friends so that the saving message of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.